The PlayStation 5 has been chugging along pretty healthily ever since its launch in 2020. Sure, the 9th generation consoles both got off to a bit of a rough start due to worldwide hardware shortages, but Sony didn't let it get them down, and the PS5 has had a pretty strong outing over its first few years on the market. According to Sony's official financial reports, over 46 million PlayStation 5s have been sold, and that's before the 2023 holiday sales are factored in. And Sony has also released a new version of the PlayStation 5 to make sure that everyone who wants one can get one without too much hunting. But if you know anything about Sony, you probably know that they're looking to release some kind of mid-generation refresh of their hardware like they always have, and we just got a huge intel drop of the upcoming PlayStation 5 Pro. So let us know in the comments if you're interested in an updated version of the PS5. Drop a like on this video, and let's just get into the leaks because these are huge. In case you missed it, it was previously leaked by very reputable sources, including Tom Henderson, that Sony's upcoming PlayStation 5 Pro is codenamed Trinity and features a ton of hardware upgrades and is targeting a late 2024 release. It will also feature some new AMD hardware that's currently being codenamed Viola, which will be important when we get into the new leak. This massive new leak just came out on ResetEra, and while it hasn't been 100% verified by the trusted insiders, they've also refused to deny the information is correct, which is a pretty big deal. The PS5 Pro is going to be a pretty hefty step up from the PS5 while maintaining what made the base PS5 such a solid piece of tech, with the ultimate goal being 4K resolution at above 30 frames per second during gameplay across the board. The PS4 Pro's main goal was not to get checkerboarded 4K resolution at 30 frames per second, but the PS5 Pro is going to be going for a more stable 4K, but not always true 4K at higher than 30 FPS, which would be a pretty big deal for modern gaming consoles. This should also mean that 60 FPS should be much more manageable at lower resolutions. So if you're playing at 1080p or 1440p performance modes, it will be safe to assume that 60 FPS should be absolutely standard. There have been quite a few major PS5 games to come out over the last couple of years, like Final Fantasy XVI and Jedi Survivor, that struggled to hold 60 FPS in performance mode while also struggling to hold 30 in quality mode, so from the sounds of it, the PS5 Pro should be able to promise at least 60 FPS in performance mode and 30 FPS in quality mode. According to a number of inside sources, Sony is actually preparing themselves for a landslide of PS5 Pro leaks over the next few months due to the fact that dev kits for the new hardware have started making their way around the game development world. That's not to say all game developers are leakers or anything of the sort, but it's simply natural that the more widely available the dev kits become, the easier it's going to be for certain things to fall through the cracks. So consider today's leak report to be the first of many over the next month or so. Sure, Sony's going to have to reveal this thing eventually, but if dev kits are only just now getting out around to the big game studios, we're probably still a few months away from a formal announcement. After all, if Sony were really concerned about everything leaking beforehand, they would just have made the announcements themselves the way Rockstar did after the GTA 6 trailer leaked. The fact that they're not simply preparing people for leaks signifies that they're not actually ready to show it off themselves. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If I had to guess, I would say Sony is holding on to the official PS5 Pro announcement until one of their upcoming showcases, possibly the inevitable state of play that they're going to hold in February or March. Most of the big publishers like Microsoft and Sony like to hold early year showcases so they can get everyone hyped about what they've been working on, and so they can reassure shareholders that a good year is coming. And since Sony's expected to have one of these showcases cooking for the first quarter of 2024, I would guess that's when we'll see an official reveal of the PS5 Pro. And I know that the leak that we just went over said Sony is planning on a September 2024 reveal, but with how many things are starting to leak, I wouldn't be surprised if they pushed the clock forward a little bit in order to get ahead of things. Everything we've heard about this system so far is seemingly leading up to a 2024 release, which would make sense given Sony's history of releasing new variants of their consoles roughly 4 years after the base version comes out. This would also allow Sony to get a new and improved version of the PlayStation 5 out on the market before 2025, which is supposed to be a pretty crazy year for both first and third party games. The obvious 2025 banger is Grand Theft Auto 6, which will surely benefit from a PS5 Pro, but it is also believed that Insomniac's Wolverine is going to launch in 2025 as well, and a lot of other major 2024 AAA games like Star Wars Outlaws and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will get a nice boost from the PS5 Pro's rumored hardware. But what do you think about the new PS5 Pro leaks? We're expecting a ton of new information to come out about the new console within the coming weeks, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on so you won't miss out on anything new. I've been Lord Punk with VGL, and we'll see you guys in the next one.